The enthusiasm and excitement of India's win in the Champions Trophy has just about subsided. And I was just trying to do some analysis into team selection and what exactly went into what went wrong, I would say, with a few of the team selection calls that was taken. Of course, I'm going to talk about India also. Although India did win, I thought there was a couple of team selections that were very curious. So let's just jump straight into it. Let's start off with our favorite, which is Pakistan. Pakistan, they had an unfortunate injury, obviously, to the opener, and that's the reason why they had to bring in a different player who was not even on the Champions Trophy roles. So understand this that basically they carried a set of I think 15 players to Champions Trophy. One of them got injured, and they didn't feel that anybody else from the remaining pool of players could fill up that role. Instead, they had to go get a different person from Pakistan to fill up that role. And the person they managed to get was Imamul Haq. And he unfortunately didn't have much of a say in his day. And you could say that, I mean, I was told that he was in touch. That's what I read, that he was in touch. He was in good form, before he came. And that's the reason why he was selected as a like-for-like replacement to Fakhar Zaman. But the point is, with the batting lineup, which included the likes of, more builders, grafters like Babar Azam and such, Fakhar Zaman was the stroke maker. But by bringing in a person like Imamul Haq, you added to the same genre of people just like Babar Azam. That's the reason why I felt there were some very slow starts from Pakistan side. So that is definitely something that did not work in their favor. Getting a player who was not in the entire pool of players altogether, getting someone new to come and play for you is kind of weird. You pick your 15 and you feel that they were the ones who should be playing. If someone gets injured, somebody else reshuffles, you should pick like that. That's how I feel. And the person who was absent from the entire Champions Trophy, which was strange because it's not that I've been a big follower of Pakistani cricket, but definitely I know enough. Someone whom I actually liked a lot was Shadab Khan. He was like a Jadeja kind of an equivalent. He used to bowl good leg spin, was fantastic in the field, and he was a fantastic batsman. And I felt that that is definitely someone whom Pakistan missed out, right? Moving over to Australia, I think I recorded a podcast about this earlier too, saying that I was surprised about Australia's choice of players. Granted, they didn't have their entire trio of main bowlers. Mitchell Marsh was injured, and but at the same time, when their opener got hurt, shot got hurt, or got he had to miss the game against India, which was like a semi-final knockout. They chose to bring in a very very inexperienced person in the form of Cooper Conley, right? And of course, it was so that you get a spin bowling all rounder. So Cooper Conley was brought in, and he was put right up at the top of the order. So there was a beautiful podcast which Michael Clark also had given, where he basically said he didn't understand the logic behind that. He's a good leg spin bowler and has a good bat. Even in the Big Bash League, he's a good bat, but not at the top of the order. He said that Marnus Labuschagne could have gone on top, Steve Smith could have gone on top, Glenn Maxwell could have gone on top. They could have reshuffled the batting order, but instead they chose to put this guy up there, and he basically was horrible. He didn't even make contact with the ball, and 9 ball duck. So it was a pretty bad, way to start your match basically, and kind of set the wrong tone, if you may. I think someone whom they missed, especially in the match against India. You could say yes, you wanted to go spin, and that's the reason why they played so many different spinners. But Indians have always been troubled by the lifting ball, and Spencer Johnson would have been a great inclusion over there. I don't know why he was not part of the team that played the semi-final. Sure, the pitch is favoring spinners, but that doesn't mean to say the fast bowlers aren't making an impact. So I think that's reading a bit too much into the pitch, and kind of the fact that India is playing 4 spinners, so you also got to play an extra spinner. It kind of defeated their purpose, is what I felt. So again, selection call which I felt Australia got wrong. Talking about New Zealand, I think when they played India in the league stages, of course, it wasn't a knockout, but that's when they played with three quicks. And so when they came into the main selection, that's when they said that they wanted to have the same combination, I guess. Not necessarily the same combination, but the fact that their main strike bowler Matt Henry was, hurt in the match against Pakistan and he couldn't take field. They could have adjusted by changing that combination of having two seam bowlers and three spinners, but instead they wanted to keep three seam bowlers, and they picked a very less known face by the name of Nathan Smith. Not his debut, but again, very less known face, not much experience, and he was severely punished in just the 2 or 3 overs that he bowled. Rohit Sharma clearly targeting him, and his inexperience shown clearly in the lengths and the lines he bowled. The moment he came under pressure, it was obvious that Nathan Smith is someone that they're going to target, right? And ultimately, he didn't even end up bowling, not even 3 or 4 overs. So they could have easily have played Devon Conway instead, who's a fantastic opening bat, and he pretty much bats anywhere in the innings actually. And he's great at opening. He's great at one down. He's great down the order. He's played some memorable IPL knocks, and he bowls decent spin bowling. I'm sure he would have been better than the figures that Nathan Smith ended up having. Talking about England, I don't want to say wrong selection, but I know it's not a selection that was made specifically for the Champions Trophy. Selection that's been happening since the India series. They were keen on the number 3, which is Jamie Smith. I thought that was their biggest mistake over there. They should have gone with an experienced person at number 3, someone who could, push the rate a little bit more, and someone who's a little bit more sure of himself. So, sure, they banked on this person a lot more compared to others, and they believed in his talent maybe, and maybe it didn't work out. But Jamie Smith at number 3 was a huge disappointment for England. I was wondering, what happened to, they have such good bowlers, all-rounders. Sam Curran, for example, he's a fantastic player. Tom Curran, his brother, he's also a fantastic player. What happened to these guys? Why aren't they part of this thing? I think Sam Curran had a lot of success, especially in Indian subcontinent type of pitches, which is like the Dubai pitch. And I thought he would have made a great addition. I think the mistake was that England basically picked their team to play in Pakistan. They didn't pick a team to play in Dubai. They could have had a little bit of buffer over there and read the conditions a little bit better. Sure, it's good to go for pace of Archer and Wood, but pace all the time, it didn't make any sense to me. Talking about South Africa, I thought South Africa had a really good campaign till their semi-final match when they just kind of ran out of steam and refused to chase down the target. For some strange reason, they were just batting. Bavuma got like 50 odd, but of like 75 balls when you're chasing 350 runs as a target. Please, someone try to explain that to me. I don't understand that at all. If Rohit Sharma took the attack to the opposition, Bavuma seemed to have taken the attack to his own side and said, okay, you know what, I'm going to be here. You guys bat around me, but I'm going to go so slow that you guys have to really, supercharge. And if one of you gets out, then we're out. And that's exactly what happened. But I'm talking about South Africa. I'm not saying Bavuma was a bad choice. It was a good choice, but just the way in which they batted was kind of slow. But I feel a guy who really did miss out, and he was actually part of the squad, was Tabraiz Shamsi. So why wasn't he part of the playing 11? I thought that is definitely a trick that was missed by the South African team. The Indian team selection was pretty much good all through, you could say, no hiccups. Ultimately, they won. Varun Chakravarti was a great add-on. Harshit Rana, I always felt, was not the right selection. Mohammad Siraj would have been so much better. In fact, instead of Harshit Rana over here, Mohammad Siraj can consider himself very, very, very unlucky not to be part of this team. And Arshdeep Singh, Arshdeep was basically your guy. He was the guy who would be able to swing the ball up front, bowl the slower ball yorkers, slower ball bounces later on. So you didn't have him either, which is kind of weird. And then finally, talking about India, Rishabh Pant. Where's your Rishabh Pant? But the point is, whom are you going to drop to bring in a Rishabh Pant? So I guess it's a problem of plenty over there, but definitely Rishabh Pant was missed out over there. Don't tell me Rishabh Pant instead of KL Rahul. I would have got a heart attack if Rishabh Pant was the guy in charge of seeing us through those testy moments. He would hit a ball up in the air and he'd fall down on the ground and something, and I think all of us would die of heart attacks. So anyway, and lastly, I think the Bangladesh team. I think one guy whom I felt, two guys actually whom I felt should have been there. I guess one of them ruled himself out, Shakib Al Hasan, because he's been banned for a bad action apparently, and even the second independent review he had, he failed that too. So I guess that's pretty much an end to his career. Although he still could have played as a batsman, but he was not there. And also, and the very experienced campaigner who they said was out of form, but I felt that in a match like this, maybe someone like him would have been useful, was a Liton Das, right? So he's been a pretty powerful player for Bangladesh over the years, and I felt he kind of missed out. That's pretty much what I felt, how team selections can make a big difference in the final outcome, and that is something I think you should consider when these kind of things happen. In hindsight, of course, they say hindsight is 6 by 6, so you're always perfect in hindsight. There's a lot of things that go in to make a team selection right, and there's a lot of people who take their call, but sometimes I feel in the middle of all those statistics and all those analysis, common sense gets missed out.